What's up, guys? Young Bucks, old goats, and I was hoping this would be a more joyous occasion tonight. Dolphins fall to the Bengals, and the big story, of course, is Tua's injury. Looked pretty serious. Obviously, got carted off, taken to a local hospital, and the good news is, I guess he's got movement on all extremities. So at least there's that. Man, I felt really bad. I if you ever watch the show, I'm not like a huge Tua fan of his game, but Tua the person, seems like a really nice kid. I don't have anything bad to say about him as a person. Anytime I critique him, it's more his game or his things on the field. So hopefully he recovers quickly. But unfortunately, the story is going to be what happened last week. Should have they brought him back in? Did they clear him too quickly? Was he still dealing with effects from the hit last week? I know the NFLPA has a investigation going in because they were not happy with the NFL's investigation into that. So all that stuff will remain to be seen. What I feel like we can be pretty sure of is that they will really take their time with whatever happens now with Tua. So if he's coming back, they'll probably stretch that out, to make sure he's 100%. But the game, I don't know, it was just after he went down, even a win would have felt somber, I think, after what went down. Let's look at the let's see if we can look at the box score real quick here. Bridgewater came in, threw for nearly 200 yards and a half. The pick at the end kind of sealed the deal on the game. And the key to me of the game was three things. It was Tua getting out. X-Man didn't look right, got smoked. And Burrow's been getting sacked like 5 times a game. I think, by the way, the final was 27-15, as you can see here. I think we sacked him once. Yeah, one time in the whole game. This guy, I saw the Jets game last week where they won. The Jets were all over him. He was sacked 5, well, not by the Jets, but on average, he's been getting sacked 5 times a game. So that's part of the problem. We couldn't get any pressure on this guy. Let's see. Yeah, 193 yards for Bridgewater. And Burrow had 287 yards. Mixon had 61.
Bluetooth pairing.
We had Mostert had some nice running for 69 yards. And we had no Higgins killed us 7 catches, 124 yards. And it was just we couldn't get much going. But again, the big story is Tua, head and neck injuries. He will travel back to the team to Miami, so that's good news. Man, that sucks, dude. What else happened here? Just when people were starting to come around on, Tua doing some stuff on the field, right? Again, glad he's moving, glad he's coming back with the team. But, if you're looking at it just from a football perspective, forgetting that he's a super nice guy and everything, I don't think you want that that kind of guy back there that you can't be sure whether he's going to play or he's going to get hurt. And, it's safe to say he's injury prone at this time, right? I'm going to go over his injury history in a little bit. So, we're 3-1 still. If you would have told me coming into the season, we're going to be 3-1, I'll be happy with that. What else? What else could you ask for? We played the Patriots, we played the Bills, we played the Ravens. That could have gone an entirely different way. So 3-1, it's not the end of the world. Now you got to get Bridgewater in there. Not the end of the world. What can he do with some practice time? We'll have to see. Just early on in the game, Mixon and the Bengals moving the ball easy. Edmonds dropped a TD, which became a Sanders field goal. Just some notes on the way McDaniel uses his players on the returns. I'm not so crazy about having my starters back there returning kicks and punts. I saw Tyreek Hill back there returning a punt. We've seen Holland there multiple weeks in a row returning punts. Raheem Mostert, who seems to be our best back, out there returning kicks. I guess it's just a different way of thinking about it. Maybe he wants his best athletes on the field all the time, but just, we saw tonight how violent this game could be and how one play, could change the complexion of your season. I don't know, dude. I'd be trying to find some other guys that could return kicks and punts back there and not have to put those guys back out there. We had before Tua came out, we had the one pick on the under. It was an underthrow, kind of off his back foot. We had another near pick later. Sanders missed an extra point. What's the over-under on how many games? If you had to guess right now, how many games? This is a complete guess, complete speculation. How many games would you say? Minimum of 3, right? We got a few days off now to the next game. I don't think there's any way he plays next game. But that was one of my keys with this guy. He had to play every game, and we're obviously not going to get that. T. Higgins, 59-yard touchdown on X-Man at some point. Teddy came in. He had the little show pass to Edmonds. That's when we missed the field goal. And then second half, T. Higgins kept cutting us up. And they were going after X-Man until I think they finally took him out eventually. Had a nice bomb from Bridgewater to Hill. He really got into that one. Hill kind of tipped that ball up into himself. Nice catch, nice recovery. And then they had a nice little goal line stand there. And then, we got the ball back. Excuse me. With a chance to, down by 8 to do something. But, of course, we had the pick by Bridgewater, which kind of sealed the deal. let's take a look at some more of the stats here. What else did we have? 110 for Tua before he got out. Joey Burrow, like I said, 287, 2 TDs. Mixon, 61 on the ground. Mostert, 69 on the ground. Not a fan of Chase Edmonds on those short yardage situations. He was 5 of 6 yards. Cheetah was busy, 10 catches, 160 yards. Waddle, kind of quiet, 2 for 39, 5 targets. Sherfield actually was targeted more, 4 for 55. And on the Cincinnati side, of course, T. Higgins is 7 for 124, but Chase also 4 for 181. Higgins had the touchdown as well. Boyd just 2 for 47. And then on the defensive side, just 1 sack of Burrow, which that offensive line is it's just not a great offensive line for us to be struggling with it so much. All right, I want to go over this is the question, I think, and there's a lot of Tua-non people who still believe in Tua, which, the last few weeks you couldn't really say anything bad because, we were winning. But I think still the question that you always have to ask yourself is who, and the bum brought this up to me, who have you seen with an injury history like his that has had any success in this league? Is there any examples? And let's look at it. And this dates back to college. Some of these are more minor than other. March 2018, spring practice, before his first full season as Alabama starter, hit a lineman's helmet while throwing a pass, suffers a broken index finger, quick surgery, misses no practice time. Okay, no big deal. October of that year, tweaks his knee during a win over Missouri. Later revealed he had a suffered knee sprain, misses no time, back in the lineup the following week against Tennessee. All right, no big deal. November 2018, late season game, Mississippi State. Third quarter, takes a hit to his left quad, the same leg of his knee injury a month prior. Sits out the rest of the game. Alabama win. Returns the following week against Citadel. December 2018, next month. Fourth quarter SEC championship game against Georgia. Left tackle Jonah Williams accidentally steps on his right ankle and causes an injury. Sits out the rest of the game and eventually has a tightrope procedure performed on his ankle so he can return for the college football playoff. Fast forward to next year, October 2019. Suffers another right ankle injury, this time a high ankle sprain during a win over Tennessee. He again opts to undergo a tightrope procedure for a quick recovery. He misses one game, a win over Arkansas, before returning to start in Alabama's loss to LSU. I believe that was Joe Burrow. And they showed some of the highlights from that game during this telecast tonight. November, following month, toward the end of the first half of a blowout win against Mississippi State, he suffers, and this is a reason why people take people out, when you're up ahead. He suffers the nasty hip injury that prematurely ends his college career. Kind of gets rolled over on. And then, of course, Dolphins draft him 1 pick ahead of Herbert. Joe Burrow was first overall in that same draft. So November 2020, despite having a fairly clean rookie season, he suffers a thumb injury in practice. Only keeps him out one single game, a week 12 matchup versus the Jets. Next year, September 2021, which, by the way, a lot of people say that year he shouldn't have been playing. When he was playing, Fitz was doing pretty well. They probably should have left him in. A lot of people blame Flores and the regime at that point for rushing him in. I thought, man, maybe this guy will play, the last game of the season this year. No need to bring him in, but if you remember, they brought him in really early. So fast forward to his second year, 2021. Week 2 versus the Bills, carted off after a rough hit, and he's later placed on the IR with rib fractures. November 2021, this is the one that 2-1 people say is like, what? He suffers a fracture in the middle finger of his throwing hand. He misses the Week 9 matchup versus the Texans. Then there's some question whether or not he will play versus the Ravens in a Week 10 Thursday night matchup. Isn't that the game? I'm not sure if that's a game he actually came in and won later. I could be mixing my opponents there on that one. But I know, he was like not healthy enough to play, but then he not healthy enough to start, but then he ended up coming in and playing. And October 31, a loss to the Bills. He suffers a finger injury on his throwing hand. He doesn't know when the injury took place and finished the game with every snap. After November 7th, after a week of being limited in practice, he dresses but does not start in a matchup versus the Texans. He gets the start and a 17-9 win over Houston. And then this article I'm reading here only goes to 10. His status still in doubt for the Thursday Night Football with the Ravens, which is the aforementioned game that we talked about. And then there's of course, this year you had last game versus the Bills. They ran a sneak with him at the 1 yard line for a touchdown. I think Bo Kemper was saying they were looking at his back on the sideline. I don't think he missed any plays, but there was like some sideline reporting that there was something up with his back. Then, of course, later in the game, we see the hit. He gets up. He kind of shakes his head, falls to one knee. They help him up. He goes in. This is towards the end of the second quarter. He goes in early at halftime. They check him out, and then he comes out to play in the second half. It's easy for me to say here, drinking my bourbon and smoking my cigar, that it didn't look vicious. A lot of the hits that he takes that are for serious injuries look like NFL-type hits you see a lot. Again, it's easy for me to say sitting here. Then there was an investigation, and some people were saying he shouldn't have come back in. Some people are now they're coming out of the woodwork, that he shouldn't have been playing tonight. He gets this. At one point, he was kind of bent backward too in this game. I don't know if you guys remember earlier on another hit, and then the one where he gets kind of picked up and snapped back. It looks more vicious on the real time play than in slow motion, and then the fingers tensed up, which is classic sign of some sort of head injury. So I don't know what it is. He's either injury prone or fragile or whatever you want to call it, but it's tough to have that many injuries that early on in your career, and dating back to college. I can't think of anybody else, that's been successful with that type of history. I mean, Andrew Luck was really good. Took his team to the playoffs, had injuries that he was cleared to play from, and then eventually, I think he had been cleared and he wouldn't come back, and then eventually he just said, "Fuck it." Eventually, I'm out, dude. And I'll be honest, if this guy's like, I don't think he'll do it because he seems like he wants to be successful. But if he were to say, what, fuck this is not worth it, my health is more important, I wouldn't blame the guy. to be honest with you. There's more important things than football. This is a pastime for us. So hope he recovers quickly. Before the game started, all three Florida teams were in first place. I guess we still are in first place on the tiebreaker because we beat the Bills. I'm not 100% on that, how the tiebreaker works. But I had some notes here before the game. I saw some of these Bengals game. This guy Burrow gets hit a lot. We weren't able to do that for whatever reason today. This guy's line is not one of the best ones, and we weren't able to do anything to him. He had lots of time, open receivers. They're going to be able to use all this time off to get some people healthy and work some things out. What else do we have, dude? Some other. Hey, Aaron Judge hit 61. Did he do anything tonight? Let's see. Are they playing tonight? The Yankees switching up from football for a moment. What a tough game, dude. I don't think Thursday nights have been particularly kind. I guess the Yankees don't play tonight. Looking at baseball for a second and Aaron Judge. Did the Cards play? That doesn't matter. Pujols got. Oh, there's a no-hitter going on in baseball right now. Who's pitching it? Wow. Sho Otani is pitching a no-hitter at the moment versus the Athletics. They're in the top of the seventh. Wow, the way baseball goes now, they probably will not even let him try to do that. He's pitched 6 innings and a third, no hits, 1 walk, 8 Ks. How many pitches? 77 pitches. So he's got, what do they let this guy pitch? 100 pitches usually? He's got, he's got to be really efficient. I'll keep my eye on that. He's got to be really efficient to even try to pull that off. They probably won't even let him try. Remember when these guys used to throw like 150 pitches? Now I sound old. That's like Nolan Ryan. They didn't even have a pitch count. You wouldn't even hear pitch count back in the day. That's how bad this Dolphins post game is going that I've switched to baseball. We had a pretty good. I was hoping we'd sign Fitzpatrick at halftime. We had a pretty good Dolphin fan contingency here in Cincinnati, actually, which was cool to see. Usually, you just see opposing teams' fans come down to our stadium. They were talking to Joe Burrow here in the post game. Dude, shout out to everybody in Florida. I hope everybody's okay, of course. Forgot to mention this at the top. We just had Hurricane Ian rip through Florida, coming in through Naples, Fort Myers area. A lot of people without power right now. A lot of water damage. One of the stronger hurricanes. Strongest hurricane since Hurricane Michael got into the Panhandle in 2018. So hope it didn't treat everybody too badly, but I know there's deaths, there's so much damage to houses and property, and it just sucks, man. Big hurricane. I remember when this thing first came out, they were saying Cat 2 maybe, Cat 1, and then it shifted right. We thought it was going to go almost miss the state of Florida entirely, and then it was basically just 2 miles short of a Category 5 when it came in. It might as well have been a Category 5. I think it was like 155. You had to be 157 to be a Cat 5 when it came in. So it's it's the 14th Category 4 or 5 hurricane that's made landfall in Florida since 1851, which I didn't know that they calculated those that far back. How the hell did they do that? Now they fly those airplanes in there and stuff. Came in, like I said, at 155. And then you, of course, living in South Florida, remember and think about Hurricane Andrew, which was 1992. And that's the strongest and most devastating hurricane to hit South Florida. Maximum sustained winds of 165. So that's pretty much it, man. Somber game for the Dolphins. Like I said, even if we would have won, I think I kind of would have been in this mood because it just sucked to see him get, injured like that. He's a good kid. I again, not like a tremendous fan of his, but like as a person, the guy's a good kid. You don't want to see anybody get hurt. Maybe Tom Brady, but generally you don't want to see anybody get hurt like that. So hoping he gets a quick recovery there. I wanted to show you what happens before we go when the Dolphins start 3-0. Let's see. Do I have the records here? All right. We had been 3-0 15 times before in our history, which of course dates back to 1966. And 2-1 18 times, 1-2 15 times. So 2-1 is the record we've had the most. 1-2 15 times, 0-3 8 times. I've been through some of those. And then one time we were 1-1 and 1. And what happens after we start 3-0? Well, we do not have a winning record in our fourth game, the times we've started 3-0. We've been 6-8, and now, of course, that becomes 6-9. It happened in 2018 when we got blown out by the Patriots 38-7 after starting the season with victories against Tennessee, New York, Jets, and the Raiders. It's a good omen for making the playoffs. We made the playoffs 9 of 14 times when we start 3-0, but we didn't do it the last 3 times. We missed out, of course, we just mentioned 2018. We missed out in 2013. We missed out in 2002. And here's a more specific look at those 3-0 starts. 2018, 3-0. We finished 7-9, no playoffs. And, of course, we fired Gase, and I think we got rid of Tannehill after that. 2013, 3-0, finished up 8-8, no playoffs. Game 4 was the Saints. They beat us 38-17. I think the Saints had our number for a while until we finally beat them last year, but they were playing with like nobody when we beat them last year. 2002, we finished 9-7, no playoffs, and we lost to the Chiefs 38-20. 98, we had another 3-0 start. That ended up being a 10-6 record, and we lost in the AFC divisional round. Game 4 was a loss at the Jets, 29. 96, 3-0 start, finished 8-8, didn't make the playoffs, and Game 4 was a 10-6 defensive struggle at the Indianapolis Colts. 1995, we actually got off to a 4-0 start, and we finished with a 9-7 record, lost in the AFC wild card. Game 4 was a 26-23 loss. I'm sorry, 26-23 win at Cincinnati, because we actually made it to 4-0. 1994 was a 3-0 start, and we had an 11-5 record, lost in the AFC divisional round. Game 4 was a loss, 38-35 at Minnesota. 1992, actually a 6-0 start. I remember this one. We were screaming Super Bowl, and we actually got to the AFC championship game and lost that year. I believe that was the Bills. And oddly enough, Game 4 was a win at the Bills, 37-10. 1984, an 11-0 start, and we finished with a 14-2 record. We lost in the Super Bowl that season. 44-7 was a loss to Indianapolis in Game 4. That was Dan Marino. Was that Dan Marino versus Joe Montana? And then this 1982 3-0 start. Yeah, 3-0 start, 7-2, strike shortened season. We lost in the Super Bowl to the Redskins. That's a pretty good little span right there. You know, even though we lost, but we went to 2 Super Bowls in 3 years. Game 4 was a 23-17 loss to Tampa Bay. No Tom Brady back then. He was just a little brat at that time. 1981, also 4-0. Yeah, but 81, 82, and 84, we started 3-0 all those years. 11-4-1 record and lost in the AFC divisional round. We're getting close to the glory days here. 1979, 4-0, 10-6 record, lost in the AFC divisional round. Game 4, 31-16 versus the Bears. 1977, 3-0, finished 10-4. 10-4 and no playoffs. Jesus, that's some bad fucking luck right there, man. And 1972, 14-0 start, 14-0 record. We won the Super Bowl. Game 4, we beat the Jets. I think that's the end of the story with the Super Bowls, or with the 3-0 starts there. So what'll happen this year? McDaniel wanted some adversity. He's got it. Let's see how we handle it. We're going to need Bridgewater to step up. How will the season finish? We don't know. That's yet to be seen. I think that's it, man. Somber game. Hopefully we can we can get Tua healthy again. Hopefully he's okay, you know, just period overall. And we can get the team ready with the time that we have for the next game. It's the Jets is the next game, which I guess is like 10 days from now. So there's time to get Teddy ready. That, you know, even with Teddy, he's not a slouch, you know, he's had some success here and there. So, you know, you think we can beat the Jets? That is at the Jets, actually, with you know, what we can all assume will be Teddy Bridgewater, right? I think it's a game we should win. You know, get back on the horse and get that win. And I don't know, just shout out to everybody out there in Florida dealing with the after effects of the hurricane. So hope everybody can recover quickly from whatever troubles they had.
Bluetooth connected.
And I guess that's it, guys. Thanks for watching. Hit the sub button to help us out. And we'll see you next time. Thank you.